BLM is tasked with managing lands for multiple uses to best meet the needs of the American people without permanently impairing the quality of the environment. Do you believe that BLM is meeting that goal? And how do they take into account the needs of small firms like yours, which depend heavily on recreational use of the land?
Well, you know, it's real easy for BLM to talk the talk, but when you see them out on the field, they're not really walking that talk, because there's almost nobody in the field actually monitoring what goes on in gas and oil extraction. Most of the people that still work for the BLM, all they're doing is issuing permits. There's a real frustration. My brother-in-law was actually the district manager of the BLM in Casper, Wyoming, and he talks about how a lot of people who have resisted what's going on in the current administration have been forced into retirement, how a lot of biologists and people who are concerned about the ecology have actually been forced into other jobs, forced into areas that they no longer can have any sort of say on how the BLM is managing the land. And so, no, in answer to your question, I think the BLM is doing a horrendous job of managing public lands for multiple use.
Thank you. Mr. Amarain and Mr. Borjak, I will invite you to comment on this question. More than 87 million Americans spent over $122 billion on wildlife-associated recreation in 2006. How do those billions of dollars help small firms create jobs out west? And do your clients support other local businesses and stimulate local economies? Mr. Amarain.
Madam Chairwoman, our local economy is out of whack right now. The energy development going on around us has allowed the high school kids, the ranch kids, to go out and drive a water truck for $20 to $25 an hour. It's very hard for the small businesses in the surrounding area to pay those kind of wages. Granted, the local hardware store is booming because of the influx of oil and gas workers, but the poor guy's working himself to death because he can't get any help to run the counter for him or the back room. Same thing's happening on the ranches. The ranchers, to get a kid to buck a bale of hay right now is almost impossible. They just won't do it. The ranchers cannot afford to pay the wages that are going on around it. Same thing with my outfitting business. My guides, I have the 3 guides I have working full-time for me love what they're doing, and that's the only reason they're doing it. If it was a financial gain for them, they'd be in another place.
Mr. Borjak.
Again, I happen to live in an area that's not directly affected by oil and gas, and in my community, the major economic driver is the river business. We generate something like $390-some million a year in the state of Colorado. The Arkansas River, where I'm based on, is the most popular whitewater river in the world. My particular company is actually the sort of the largest customer of the local Safeway store. We have about 300 guides that live in the valley, and all of the economy that's generated through their wages and things like that goes directly back into that community. Most of us are year-round residents there that own companies there, so our kids go to school there. We buy our insurance. We do all the things that a small business would do for that community. And
Thank you.
That answers your question.
Thank you very much. Mr. Velázquez, you explained to us the contamination that is taking place in the land that you lease. Can you talk to me? Who are you reaching out to, asking for help? BLM?
Madam Chairman, yes. We used to have meetings with BLM and the oil companies on a daily basis, because this problem has been going on for 20 years plus on my operation. And we thought we could solve it by having meetings with the oil companies, bringing them in on board.
This is BP?
BP, ConocoPhillips, Williams Field, every company that's available there in the Four Corners. We'd bring them into those meetings, spend 4 or 5 hours with them. We were the only ones not getting paid to go to those meetings. BLM was getting paid. The staff was getting paid. the oil companies. We're sitting in there until we found out that we didn't have no voting right when they made decisions on that board, so we quit. And I had brought it up to we used to have field tours with oil companies and the BLM until I got plumb fed up. I don't do that anymore. They know what they need to do. The regulations are in place by BLM. They're not enforced. And just on that instance on the cows drinking that contamination off that tank in 2005, when I got pictures of it, didn't have a screen on it or nothing to protect the wildlife or my cattle. So I called BLM. They went ahead and put that chicken wire on it, and now my cows get into the same tank, and they're turning out positive with contamination to their liver. This has been an ongoing problem constantly. And the BLM manager on the Farmington office told me at one time he didn't want to see my pictures again or anything that I had to report on BLM lands. So I deal with BLM director from the state of New Mexico, Linda Rundell, but it's an ongoing problem for me, and BLM has not helped me protect my interest on public lands at all, because I still got the same problems that I had 20 years ago with cattle guards, contamination, going on still today. It is frustrating.
It is. And I hope that you're reaching out to your member of Congress to get him to intervene.
Yes, I've been working with them, trying to get them to help me out.
Mr. Moyer, you mentioned that there are many examples of oil and natural gas companies being good stewards of the land. Can you give us some examples of energy firms working to minimize their impact on the environment?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, Williams Energy and Encan Energy made large donations to the Department of Wildlife to help start monitoring programs above and beyond what the BLM and the local and state government have implemented to them.
But if they are causing some type of contamination, are they being responsive in cleaning up and restoring?
In all honesty, Madam Chairman, I have not seen the type of factors that they're speaking of. In Garfield County, I live next door to one of the largest cattle ranches, which has drilling wells on it, and I have not seen any type of the behavior that he spoke of with these particular oil companies. They do a good job, as far as I can see, with the cattle guards and the fencing. They have, on the contractors like myself that work for them, they have rules and regulations that they monitor them, and they are very serious that they impose and make sure that we're following.
So you work for the firm, for the energy company?
I work for my local citizens first, and then I work for my oil companies second.
But you're being employed by the oil company?
I'm employed by everybody in my county, not just the oil and gas people. My priorities and my loyalties are with what's right and wrong, not with who signs a bigger paycheck.
Thank you.